Hi everyone, welcome to episode 27, I think, of the Just One End podcast. My name is Elizabeth Zimmerman, but you can call me Liz. I'm coming to you from Cochranville, Pennsylvania, where I live with my husband Greg, our two children, Eric and Tilda, and our cat Sunspot, who you've seen in recent episodes. I am recording late at night, which I'm back to my MO. I've been recording during the day, which is unusual for me. Yeah, it's almost 1 a.m. On Saturday, December 1st. So it is officially officially December. I am not writing down any notes for this podcast. I mean, I didn't write any ahead of time, and I'm trying to get through with as few edits as possible because I want to get this up and out there, because being December 1st, that means it is the start of Vlogmas. Which I did last year and I plan to do this year. So I've got a lot of recording and editing ahead of me. So I want to bang out this podcast episode and then dive right into Vlogmas after this. I think I forgot this one. You can find me on Instagram as Just One End Podcast, and you can find me on Ravelry as Algebrina. Okay, so speaking of Ravelry, I have a hat along going on right now. So a knitting, crochet, however you want to make a hat along. And it is in my Ravelry group. You can find the link down below. The hat along ended 55 minutes ago. So it officially ended on November 30th. So if you were knitting along with us and you have some finished hats, make sure you get them in the Ravelry thread. I'll leave it open for a couple of days. I won't close it out yet. So go ahead and get those put in, and then I'll pick a winner before my next episode. But I want to go through the hats that I knit for the hat along. You saw the last two in my last episode, but I'll go ahead and show them to you again. And then I have a third one to show. So this, this was my second. We'll do it out of order. This is one of the hats that I made. It is a worm hat, which is a free pattern on Ravelry. I can't remember who the designer is, but you can see it on Ravelry. I have a hot pink pom-pom on it, which I love. The yarn is by Stranded Dye Works, which is Amy. I believe it's in her Castaway DK base, and the colorway is Naive Watercolor. So that was one of the hats that I knit. And then another hat that I knit, and this is actually the first hat that I knit, was the Gretna hat, which is designed by Rachel Brockman. She also designed the Gretna jumper, which is a sweater pattern that I highly recommend because I really love mine. This is made out of Yorkshire Medley, which is put out by Flying Fibers. I can't remember the name of the colorway right now, so I'll have to either put it below or you can refer to last episode. And so this was the first hat I knit, and I love this hat. It's really, really pretty. And then my newest hat is my only FO to show this episode. So it is the Quist hat. So I'll go ahead and put it on. I finished it, but I haven't blocked it yet. But this is, let me try and get a slouch in there. I think when I block it, it'll actually stretch out a bit and be a bit more slouchy. But this is a hat by Melanie Berg. She also put out Quist mitts, which I knit earlier this year, and I will put those on and show you those because they're a matching set. Oops, put it on upside down. All right, so these are my Quist mitts. You can see the zigzag pattern that makes it, I'm assuming that's where the name Quist comes from somehow. But these mitts I love. I wear them all the time. I made a modification in the ribbing up top. It's supposed to end the same as the bottom. I think you've got the same width of the ribbing or length, I guess. The same length of ribbing on top and bottom. But I really like to have my knuckles covered when I'm using fingerless mitts, because when they're just down to here, my hands still get really cold, especially when it's windy, which it seems to be all the time here. So I kept the ribbing going until it got at least to my pinky fingertip. And if I really stretch them, I can I can get them over all my fingers. But then they can be rolled down if I want to get them out of my way for something. So I really, really love these mitts. I knit them from a sock blank by Sweet Sparrow Yarns. And I had about half a sock blank left when I was done. And then I saw that she had a twist hat. So I was like, well, I might as well use the rest of that sock blank to knit the hat. So I finally did that. I think I finished these in like March or something like that. So this hat, it has the same detail around, I didn't really show you this, but it has the same detail around the thumb. Let's see if I can get this to show up. It might be out of focus, but that's okay. So there's this little twist detail that goes up the side and splits around the thumb that I really, really love in the mitts. And it has that same detail going up the side of the hat right there. So hopefully you can see that. Just 2 columns of the twisting stitch right there. So I really like that feature. Because this was knit from a sock blank, it's a bit wavy, and like I said, I haven't blocked it yet, so it's going to be really hard to see some of the texture. It just looks like a wavy blob at the moment. But yeah, so that's the hat. I was knitting from the sock blank, and I wasn't sure I was going to have enough, and turns out I didn't. So I stopped, I think, one 8-row repeat early anyway, and then I was doing the decreases, and I was trying my best to like get my sock blank to stretch to exactly what I needed, even if it meant decreasing super early, and it wasn't going to happen. So I knit back to where I was following the pattern. I think I just knit a couple extra rows of decreases at that point, and I went looking for yarn in my scraps, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to find anything because, first of all, it's a sock blank. So sock blanks are really hard to match a color because, you know, your colors are kind of all over the place because you're unraveling something that was dyed while knit. And then, yeah, I don't know. So I didn't think I was going to find anything. But then I went digging in this little jar right here, and I saw something purple about halfway down, and I pulled out this, which is darn close. It's not exactly perfect, but the place where I used it, you can probably tell better in the camera. Like you can see the contrast a little bit better than you even can in real life. It's like right there. That's it. Tiny little circle. Looks like a nipple, but the little circle in the middle of the hat is all I had to use for the yarn anyway. So it's hardly going to be noticeable. And it blends really, really, really well, considering that it is definitely not the same dyer or anything. So I am super, super happy with how that worked out. And I think that's all I have to say about that. So just a reminder again, I knit all of these as part of the Just One and Hat Along. So if you have hats that you finished, make sure that you put them into the finished object thread in Ravelry. So that is the only finished object I have. I have one kind of sneaky one that I'm going to throw in here as a finished object. It's a cross stitch that I actually knit in college, so like 15 years ago, something like that. But when I did the back stitches on it, I didn't really know how to back stitch with cross stitch, so I went from point A to point B in one long strand, which when you're covering like this much space doesn't work out very well, and those threads went super loose and loosey-goosey. So I decided that I wanted to redo those back stitches, at least the worst ones. I wasn't going to redo everything, but at least redo the worst ones, and then I want to get this cross stitch framed. So this is, I mean, it's just a Dimensions cross stitch kit. It's on Ada. It's a kit that I'm sure I picked up from Joann's or Michael's or something. It's when I finished it, I like put it into a really cheap frame and duct taped it to the mat, and it's not in great shape. The back is not terrible. I think it's kind of cool with the stars there. You've got the stars going back and forth. But, you know, it's definitely an early cross-stitch piece. But when I put it into a frame 15 years ago, it's been kicking around ever since. So it's kind of got a little bit of sun damage and things like that. But it's not terribly noticeable. And I decided I wanted to go ahead and get it framed anyway. So I'm going to add it to my wall of cross stitch that I am slowly accumulating. And hopefully I'll have that to share as I've got threads on it, as a framed finish object in the next couple of months. So, but I will show you where I fixed the back stitching. In this little house, these roof lines particularly were basically floating all over the place. So those were what I tightened up. So those are it for finished objects. Everything else is a work in progress. I'm trying to think what I shared last time. I think I can share this one. I've got a giant pile next to me because I've been working on a lot of different stuff. So last time I think I showed you most of the body for this. This is the origami sweater. I'm knitting it as a shop sample for a page at Frame and Fiber. I have now finished the body part of it. So this is the body. It's got a peach hem, It's got a neutral hem, oh my goodness, I can't talk. It's Malabrigo Rios. The colorway is natural. So it's got a cream colored hem called natural. It's striped then with the light greeny blue color. And then at the top, it's got this dark color. And then the shoulder looks like this, which I really like. I can't remember what the other two colors are called, but I will try and put those. I think they're on my project page, so I'll link to that. So this part is done. So this is the body. It's got kind of like a little, almost a turtleneck, collar to it. And then this is it for the dark color. That's the only bit of the dark color that's in the pattern, which is actually really great for me because that means I have a lot of leftovers that I get to keep, and it's a really cool color. so I don't know how well you can tell, but there's like, I don't know, you've got like hints of green and purple in the dark gray. It's really cool. So all I have left to do then is the sleeves, which you knit from the cuff up in the round, and then you attach them to the body. So I haven't started the sleeves yet. I finished the body like a while ago, and then I got distracted with other projects. So I'll work on the sleeves next, and then hopefully this will be done and on its way to page. So that is one of my works in progress. I don't have anything terribly exciting that I'm working on at the moment. My Flora mitts that I started before the last podcast, I haven't picked up at all. I've gotten easily distracted with other things. This is a sock that I'm working on that I started probably this summer. And then I got to the heel decreases, to the gusset. And didn't feel like doing that. so I never picked it up. But I've been picking it up lately and putting the decreases on again. So it has not grown hardly at all. But I do have a heel, and I am working on it. And I did want to show you what I'm working on it from, because I've had this in my stash for a while. And I know that Alan of Sal and Al of the Wool Slayers is going to yell at me because she didn't want me to knit these, because they're really pretty. But I am knitting up the Andre Sue Knits sock blank, one of them that I got from my sock blank club like a year and a half ago, I think. So this is the fox one, the What a Fox. So my socks only use up like half a sock blank though, so I will have this to keep and probably use somehow intact, because it is really, really pretty. So I'm working on that a tiny, tiny little bit, but I'm showing it so that I'm accountable for it because it's been languishing for so long that I really, should get it done. especially because that's the first sock. It's not even the second sock yet. And then another whip that I've got, this is one that I just started. So I was at a family party working on my shop sample sweater, and my aunt asked me what I'm working on, and I told her that it was, just for a friend. I was gonna knit it, and then she'd be able to take the project, and it was just because there was nothing I was working on that I was excited about. And she ever so nicely reminded me that I had promised to knit her some mittens about a year ago. So it was the Pieces of 8 mitts, which I have knit before, which I'll try and put in a picture if I remember. And these are really cool mitts. I mean, the construction is very interesting. You basically knit a figure 8, and then you kind of just knit garter for the rest of the mitt to make up the surface area for the rest of your hand, and then you graft it together. So that's what I started working on. So this is one of the mitts. So this is the thumb right here. There we go. And then, here, let me put it this way. So this is the thumb. And then you've got your figure 8 that goes over your wrist on your thumb joint. And then I'm working on getting the rest of the volume surface area to get around your hand. I'm really, really close. I'm like 2 rows away, and then I'll graft it together and it'll be a finished mitt. So this is one mitt, and then I've got the other one to start. So this I am knitting out of Wisdom Yarns, which is a universal yarn line apparently. Allegro. It's a wool-free yarn because my aunt is allergic to any wool products. So I had to find something, which I didn't have anything in my stash that didn't have any wool in it, I don't think. So I actually bought this online. This is probably this is my only acquisition to share. So yeah, I bought this online and was able to start it when the yarn came. So yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that, but it's a really fun project to do. I'd forgotten how much fun I had doing it the first time. I think I knit these I know I knit them when I lived in Mount Joy, which was at least 2 or 3 years ago now. So it's been a while, probably like 4 or 5 years since I knit them. But they're really fun, and I really like how when you use variegated yarn, how you get the different patterns. Mine ended up looking kind of like Starry Night, I think. So they're really cool. Okay, and then the other thing that I have to share some progress on is my cross stitch, the stitch along that I'm doing, the Clouds Factory Legendary Creatures Alphabet. Pretty sure that's what it's called. So I had shared this in the summer. I had caught up to August, and then I put it down, and I hadn't made any more progress on it. Now I have caught up through. I finished September, and I think I'm working on October now. So I believe the new ones. I think I had through Q done. So R, W, and V are the ones that I've worked on. R and W are done. V is almost done. I've just got to stitch his name, and he has like a moon over his shoulder that I haven't done yet. So those are, coming along. I am still only in October, and it is now December, so I should actually have an email in the next 12 hours or so with the next part of the pattern release. So I'm hoping that I stay on top of it enough that through this month that I'll be able to get it done by the end of the year, which I think I should be able to do. I have been stitching on it in the last couple of days, and I'm really enjoying working on it again. So I shouldn't lose my stitching mojo in the next couple of weeks. And then the last thing I'm going to show you, which we'll call it a work in progress, but it's really an unwork in progress. So what I was I think I shared this last time that I have a sweater that I, hopefully I remember to talk about this one. Put a pin in that. Hopefully I'll remember later. I have a sweater that I knit and never wore. It was a worsted boxy. I didn't like the size and drape of it when it was all said and done. I just never wore it. So it was a ton of yarn, and I decided that that yarn was not going to go to waste in a sweater that I never wear. So I unraveled that sucker. So so this project bag here, which is my sweater bag from Fat Squirrel, is full of unwound yarn or unraveled yarn. It's all skeined up or balled up or however I was able to. Like I've got a couple of balls in there and a couple of really tiny little skeins. So it is undone. So this is now a deconstructed sweater. Soon to become a new sweater. I haven't decided what sweater I'm going to knit it into now that it's available yarn again. I've got a couple of ones that I've played around with, but I'm not sold on any of them yet. I was going to do the I Heart cardigan, but it's a lot of cables, and I'm just not sure that I'd wear it in this color because it's mostly blue, but it has some really wild speckles in there. So it's gonna take a pretty special pattern, I think, for me to really love, because I love this yarn. So I just want to find the right sweater for it. I'm leaning toward a cardigan because I really do prefer a cardigan. As much as I've been knitting pullovers lately, the sweater that I wear the most is my Evelyn, which is a cardigan. So if you have any suggestions, any sweater patterns, you can suggest a pullover if you want, but like a cardigan or a pullover that you think would work great with this yarn, let me know. I am going to look on Ravelry still and check projects and see if I find anything that jumps out to me. But yeah, I'd love to hear what you think if you've got an idea. So that will hopefully be a sweater sooner than later. Speaking of sweaters, I'm wearing a sweater that I made. So this is the Bright Heart sweater. I'll sit up a little bit. So this was the first Rhinebeck sweater that I knit. It was the one I planned to be my Rhinebeck sweater before I decided a week before Rhinebeck to make the Bloomsbury sweater also, or Bloomsbury. So this was knit out of Quince & Co. Peacock is the base color. Honey is your little accent color here. And it's in the Heart on Our Sleeves collection. This one was designed by Romy Hill. I really like the collection. I really like the sweater. I love this detail here. It's a 3/4 length sleeve, and it's got a split cuff, and it has a split hem too. So I really like it. I've worn it a couple of times now, away from yarny events also, which is always nice when you're like, yes, this is a everyday sweater. I can wear this out in public and feel awesome about it. The neckline was doing some wonky things initially, and now that I'm sitting down, it's doing wonky things again, like it's buckling in a couple spots. But when I stand up, it lays perfectly. So I think wearing it a couple times now has really broken it into my body that it doesn't do that weird buckle, at least when I'm standing. So I'll try not to sit in the sweater too much anymore. Okay, so that is pretty much everything I had to show you. Like I said, today is the 1st of December. So I am going to be starting to do Vlogmas, and I did get an advent calendar this year. So I'm going to share, I'm not going to open the first one. I'm going to do it with Vlogmas, but this is my advent calendar. This is the box that came in. I went with Giddy Ant Yarns, who are based in the UK. And it came beautifully wrapped. It had a lovely bow, and it was very well protected for its trip over the pond. It came with a nice little card. And then on the inside here, I've got all of my little packages to open. I'm so excited. I did a advent calendar last year. I bought one from Adelaide Cottage and I loved doing it. It was so much fun to have a package to look forward to every day. All of my minis I put into my blanket. I didn't put in a square every day, but by the end they were all put in, whether it was, a couple days late or not. And I'm looking forward to being motivated to work on my blanket again too, because that's kind of at a standstill, mostly because I hit a place where it's squared off at the moment, so I need to start another row, and that just uses more brain power than just picking up from an existing corner. So I'm just being lazy. So hopefully these will motivate me to start working on my blanket again and get some, get some squares added onto that, since it's been sadly neglected. But that is, I think, everything I have to share with you. Yeah, Vlogmas. So that's hopefully gonna be the next video you see. And yeah, that's everything. The endings are always awkward. I usually cut this part out so you don't get to see it, but I'm terrible at doing the ending. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope that you have a great rest of your week. See, it's terrible. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.